On today's show, the LA Clippers with a really solid win against the Memphis Grizzlies. What was the key and what did I see from Kawhi Leonard that was encouraging? Going to be talking about it all on my first post-game pod back on Locked On Clippers.
You are Locked On Clippers, your daily Los Angeles Clippers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, sir. You were locking in with the Clips. Thank you for making Locked On Clippers the first listen of your day, your team every day. I'm your host, Darian Vaziri, born and raised in LA, and in my 20th season as a Clipper fan, been covering the Clippers for 5 years on my personal YouTube channel, Dime Dropper, and 3 years now on this channel, Locked On Clippers, where you can find wherever you get your podcasts. All things LA Clippers. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about Kawhi Leonard and his performance in the game. I talked about that I would have a very close eye on him in the last episode because he's been kind of struggling of late. It's been 14 games now, this being the 15th. So we're going to talk about what I like from him. Kris Dunn, his insertion into the starting lineup, what I thought of that tactical change, and then my overall takeaways from the game. And of course, if you also want to find Locked On Clippers in written format, you can go to the newsletter. Your favorite podcast now has a newsletter, the Locked On Clippers daily newsletter written by yours truly. Sign up for free now at lockedondaily.com. That's lockedondaily.com. Now, let's talk about this one, huh? Memphis Grizzlies, one of my least favorite teams in the league, as I'm very, very, very open about, dating back to what I thought was our only rivalry ever in the early 2010s against the Memphis Grizzlies with Marc Gasol, Z, Bozo, Mike Conley, and those guys. But we played them without Ja. And here's a fun fact, Clipper Nation, that Ja Morant has only played the Clippers in LA twice from the 21-22 season onwards. I was at both of those games. The other one was towards the end of last season's calendar year. So like at the end of 2023, we played them. I was at that game. And I was also at the opening night games. You can check those out on my channel. But he never plays us in LA. He just always doesn't play. I know apparently he took a hard fall in the Phoenix game, but odds are that he was dancing. Odds are that he could have played. Probably fairly strong. I know the Grizzlies want to be very cautious with Ja. I guess we'll find out. If he plays the next game and goes off, then he probably could have played, and it was a back-to-back. They want to load manage. We will be load managing Kawhi Leonard on Thursday night against the Utah Jazz. And by the way, I want to talk for a quick moment about why this episode is so late. Guys, I'm going to have to move out of the place that I'm living at right now and go to my grandma's probably if I want to get episodes out for you guys in the morning after games, because I come home and the one room that I can do this in is taken up by a person that's living here, and she goes to sleep at 10:30 because she wakes up early for work. So I get home from Intuit at like 10:50. So, and even on nights that we have home games, 10:15, by the time I'm done recording, it's like 10:50. She wanted to be in bed 20 minutes ago. So I'm going to have to move if I want to give you guys pods by the time you wake up, like especially for you East Coasters. So I'm really sorry about that. I'm just trying to figure this all out, and I at least try to give you a pod every day. So Kawhi, though, I said that we had to keep an eye out on him because the last 3 games he had not looked very good. Well, in this game, he was aggressive from the jump. And one thing I thought early on was, man, the first 4 shots that Kawhi's taken, all contested jumpers, all difficult. And I was like, man, but some of them are shots he's like always made, but it's still like not easy. But what I loved was that he continued to get aggressive. He had a nice clean steal, pickpocket, went all the way. I think he missed the layup and then Coffee followed it up, but that was nice to see. And he just stayed aggressive all game long. And you finally got to see 30-plus minutes and 20-plus points. 34 minutes for Kawhi Leonard, 25 points to lead the way for your Clippers. That's what you love to see. 5 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals, and just 2 turnovers on 9 for 19 shooting, 2 for 6 from 3, and 5 for 5 from the foul line. That is a Kawhi Leonard stat line. And I don't think he looked necessarily way faster, way quicker, but you know what I thought he looked like? Better defensively. Not only just moving his feet one-on-one, but off the ball. There were times where guys were trying to back cut on him baseline, and he's been getting beat on that back cut baseline watching the ball. He and James Harden last couple of weeks. Or James Harden, it's happened throughout the season, but Kawhi Leonard, he's, just came back, and I've noticed he's gotten beat backdoor frequently. Amir Coffey, too, all season long. Don't want to single Harden out. Kawhi Leonard was very alert off the ball yesterday defensively, and on the ball he was great as well. But my main thing was the offensive aggression. I love to see that. You know what I saw a lot more of? Him in high pick and rolls, coming off screens, stepping into wide open mid-range shots. When bigs are in drop coverage and Kawhi's coming off screens and the big is literally dropping, inviting him into that in-between game, if the screen is good enough and the point of attack defender has not gotten around to be in Kawhi's rear view, he's essentially stepping into a wide open mid-range jumper, which is bread and butter for him. It's when you have a great point of attack defender that's chasing him from behind that things can get a little dicey. But what I thought with Memphis yesterday was we had better defense than them and we had more dynamic creation. Like, Jaren Jackson Jr. is a really good player. He's a 2-time All-Star now. He's an All-Star again this year. Desmond Bane is fantastic, and he was lighting us up in the beginning, but then he cooled down and they had nothing else, right? They didn't have that shot creation without Ja. And it's not that they don't have it at all. I mean, Jaren Jackson Jr. can create his own a little bit. Desmond Bane has a great jump shot. Scottie Pippen Jr. has shown that in the pick and roll he can create some shots. But you're talking about the second best defense in the league. It's not just creating shots against NBA players. You're trying to create shots against one of the best defensive teams in basketball right now. So it's not easy. You kind of need a Ja. You know what I'm saying? If we're going to be on that type of time defensively, and we haven't been as great defensively in the recent games, especially against fast teams. But you know what really helps our defense? Our offense. Our ability to score 128 points. And that is, Kawhi Leonard probably helps our offense more than our defense. If we're talking about the Kawhi Leonard that we want to get, which is one of the best scorers in the NBA, one of the best players in the NBA. But to be honest, now Kawhi Leonard's best attribute is scoring. It used to be on-ball defense when he was young, but it's scoring now. So we need him to help us offensively more than anything. And when we score a lot, we can set our defense a lot. And it's not going to be easy to beat our set defense, as Memphis found out. 128-114 was the final score. I thought we were in control the majority of the game. We started up 9-0, and then Desmond Bane hit a couple of threes and was scorching hot. I think he had 16 points in the first quarter. Actually, he did. 16 points in the first quarter. And then when he came back into the game, because we already started chipping back, getting an advantage or chipping, because they went up. They went up by, I believe, 12 points. Let me take a look at it. Yeah, they were up by 12 points. And when Desmond Bane came out, we kind of chipped away at it. By the time he came in, they were only up by like 4 points. And he kind of cooled down on that bench because when he came back in, he wasn't able to hit the same way. So they didn't really have much outside of contested jumpers. And I was right. By the time he came back in, it was 52-48. So we had gotten back into it, and it was a lot of contested jumpers for them. So when you were talking about contested jumpers, we'll live with that. And Kawhi, 25 points, that's what we want to see. I was saying it. We need to start seeing something because it's getting to the point where in 2023, he was starting to go off. So maybe this is a great sign in the right direction that, especially with an extended break, he won't be playing on Thursday night, and he's going to get the All-Star break off. Then when we come back, hopefully he can pick up right from this game and just keep on going, because seeing him in the pick and roll more, getting those open mid-ranges, seeing him just be more aggressive was great to see. And then defensively, fantastic. So he also just looked a little shifty with his handle. I forget who he got, but on a beautiful snatchback, he created some separation. So he's starting to feel a little better with his handle. It looks like it's coming along, but we need to see consistency. That's the main thing. It's looking better. That was a step in the right direction, but we want to see consistency is my takeaway. So good to see that. Clippers win at 128-114, taking care of business in what was one of their best wins in a little bit. But coming up, going to talk about one of the biggest reasons for this win, Kris Dunn, and his insertion into the starting lineup. What do we think of that tactical change? Going to be talking about that coming up. I got to tell you a little something about Wayfair. After the holiday hustle, there's nothing like giving your home a little TLC. I always find that decluttering and refreshing my space helps me get back into a routine. Whether you're tidying up, clearing out, or just want to give your space a new look to start the year, Wayfair has everything you need, all within your budget. I'm currently looking for furniture. Well, I'm going to be looking for furniture when I get a permanent setup. And Wayfair is going to be an easy place to find pieces that fit my style and budget. And my favorite part, the free and hassle-free delivery, even for the larger items. Wayfair's site was so easy to navigate, and I found everything I needed in no time. Give your home the refresh it needs with Wayfair. Head to wayfair.com right now. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair. Every style, every home. All right, Clipper Nation, good win against the Memphis Grizzlies on Wednesday night. Solid Intuit Dome crowd, but it was not a sellout. Attendance just under 15,000. Remember, it's almost an 18K seater, the Intuit Dome, so that's not a good sign. Again, I will be doing an episode soon on why our attendance is league low right now, even though we moved into a new stadium. But I'm waiting for next week to do that, All-Star break, because we got a good win to talk about here. 128-114 over the Grizzlies, and we are now 30-23 on the season, 19-10 at home, which is a pretty solid home record. I have been to 19 of those 29 games. They said we're not going to have a home game till March. So, I mean, yikes. We're not going to have a home game till March 5th because we're on a huge road trip when we get back from the All-Star break. At Milwaukee, at Indiana, at Detroit, at Chicago, and then both games back-to-back against the Lakers at Staples Center. Those tickets are outrageous. On ESPN, it says tickets as low as $4, $8, $12, and $21 for all the games that are like actually on the road. Then the ones against the Lakers at Staples Center or Crypto, $214, and the second one $159, and then it goes to Phoenix at $9. Laker tickets are the biggest ripoff in basketball, but they have Luka now, and there's a whole thing around that now, so I get it. I mean, they're going to sell them, so why not? But we'll talk about the Clippers situation in a bit. But yeah, we don't have a home game till March 5th. March 5th. And I didn't even realize until I just looked at that record, 19-10 at home. We only have 12 more home games this season. So the max I can go to is 31. I've always wanted to go to at least 30 games, or at least that was my goal last season, to go to 30 games. And then I had a stomach issue on the game that Paul George made that game-winning shot against Cleveland, which was one of our best wins of the season. And I didn't get to see game number 30. I technically went to 32 games if you count the playoffs, but 30 of the 41. I wanted to go to at least 30. And I probably would have been able to do it this year if it wasn't for all this nonsense that happened to me. But maybe I'll still be able to do it. Can I go to 11 of the 12 remaining games? I don't know. That's a tough ask. But let's talk about part of the reason we got this win. Kris Dunn was inserted into the starting lineup instead of Derrick Jones Jr. So the starting lineup was Kawhi, Norm, Kris, James, and Zoo, which is a smaller lineup because you're essentially running three guards with James, Kris, and Norm. They're bigger guards, though, all of them, but they're still 6'4" and under. I guess James Harden's 6'5". He gets announced as 6'5" by Eric Smith, but let's see. He's listed at 6'5" on ESPN. So let's say 6'5" and under, all three of them, right? I thought the reason we started Kris Dunn was because, we're playing against Ja. He's going to be better at the point of attack than Derrick. but maybe it's a permanent change. Ty Lue said that it would be matchup dependent. So we'll take a look at that. Obviously, it worked out for this game. But here's one thing to think about. With Ben Simmons coming, and I didn't see him in person yesterday on the bench, but I saw pictures of him on the bench because the wall's on the other side. The Clipper bench is on the opposite side. So apparently he was there, and I saw pictures of him there. But I didn't see him with my own two eyes. He's going to be playing tonight, which is awesome. I'm really excited about that, actually. But with Ben coming off the bench, let's say everybody's healthy. Ben and Kris Dunn in the same small ball unit, it's not the end of the world, especially if Kris Dunn is making his threes, but the spacing isn't the most ideal. But if you have Ben with Nico, Derek, Amir, and who am I missing? And Bogey, who made his debut, by the way. Man, I forgot about that. Bogey made his debut. Okay, I'll talk about that in the last segment. That'll be my last segment. But that's a crazy defensive and athletic unit. Let me repeat that for you. Derek Jones Jr., Nico, Amir, Ben Simmons, and Bogey. The only guy that doesn't have like crazy athleticism and like burst is, well, I don't know how much burst Ben Simmons still has, but he's huge, is Bogey. Like, because Amir Coffey is a pretty fast, I mean, if you watch him live in transition, like he gets down the floor. He's a good athlete. Derek Jones, I mean, if he catches the ball full speed within 10 feet of the basket, he's dunking on somebody or dunking. You just got to make sure you make a business decision if you want to get dunked on or not. Because he catches the ball on the run every time. I'm like, oh man, is he going to be able to, he takes off, right? And I'm thinking to myself, because I'm right behind the basket. I'm like, is he about to dunk this? And he dunks it every time. It's like that dude's bounce is out of control, Derek Jones. So it just is a really good possibility of having a wing stop lineup and a wing stop kind of lineup. And Derek Jones Jr. is shooting 37% from three this year, as opposed to Kris Dunn, who's been really struggling from three. But that's what made this game so awesome, that he had such a good game from three. Kris is shooting 32%. But when he's shooting like this, 4 for 4 from three, that's insane. 4 for 4 from three, 5 for 6 from the field, 14 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists, 5 steals, and just 1 turnover. In 21 minutes, he was a plus 25, which was tied with Kawhi for the highest of any player in the game. When Kris Dunn is making his threes, he's one of the best role players in the league. Because his defense is spectacular on the ball and point of attack, but off ball, it's so good as well. His anticipation, his reading of where the offensive player is going to go or where he's going to spin and turn is amazing. He gets to every loose ball seemingly. And there was one possession that was awesome last night where he got 2 offensive rebounds in one possession, passed up a 3 on 2 occasions in the possession, and then takes it when he gets it again and ends the possession with a made 3. I mean, this guy has been so massive to this team's 30 wins this season. So massive. And the stats might not always tell you that, but he is part of the reason why we're the second best defensive team in the league. And there were a lot of guys and people that said he would be part of that before the season even started. I didn't fully put my name on it because I wasn't watching Utah games, so I didn't want to speak with such confidence on his defense. But man, all those people were right. He has been fantastic. You cannot make a bad pass around Kris because he's going to get his hands on it. You have to make a good pass if he's in the vicinity because he's going to come up with it. He's going to come up with a loose ball, and then we're off to the races. But when he's able to make threes, makes him that much more deadly. And then Derek Jones Jr., I mean, how professional is this guy? Comes off the bench, same exact impact. 9 points, 2 rebounds, 1 steal on 4 for 7 shooting, 1 for 2 from 3. Fantastic defense, crazy athleticism on the break. And as I said, when he gets the ball within 10 feet on the run, it's over. Buckle up because we're about to take flight. So without those 2 guys, I don't know where the Clippers would be. Absolutely, I would rather have Kris Dunn and Derek Jones Jr. than a certain podcaster who just had 2 points last night. Let's talk about it. I'm just kidding. This is Locked On Clippers, not Locked On Sixers. But once I get Dime Dropper back up and running, I am about to roast that dude. We dodged a bullet, Clipper Nation. How about some comments for Paul George? 2 points. Look, I thought that move would be a bad move, a bad contract to give that dude, and we dodged a bullet on that. But Sixer fans aren't even fighting back. They know that. I mean, I didn't even think it would be this bad. He's averaging like 15 points or something. They're terrible. They're talking about the lottery. They're talking about tanking. And they paid him 50 mil. Honestly, that might be the best thing Lawrence Frank has ever done is not pay that man 50 mil. Jesus, Philly. At least the Eagles won the Super Bowl because, oh man. Coming up, we're going to talk about Bogdanovic's debut. Loved what I saw and what this game told me about the Clippers. Going to be talking about that coming up. All right. So let's talk about Bogey. I was really happy with what I saw. How poetic that when Bogey comes in, his first shot as a Clipper, right wing three, buries it. And, you know, I thought his offense was really solid. He's just another guy that can drive and kick, make plays, handle the ball and pick and roll a bit. And we didn't even see him try to handle the ball and pick and roll a bit like that yet. So that's going to be awesome. He can play off ball. He can play on ball. He shot really well. 7 points on 3 for 4 shooting and 1 for 2 from 3. Got 2 rebounds, got an assist, and got a steal. It was funny because I was talking to one of my guys, which I don't know. You got to tell me your name again, bro, because I forgot it. But he's in the comments and he sits in my section and he was like, Bogey's a chair. And I was like, yeah, he's not a great defender. Like, we got him for offense. And then after that, he had like 2 strips in a row. So that was pretty funny. Although steals are not a good, accurate representation if you're a good defender or not. I think it's something, but it's not everything. Bogey is not going to be a great defender, I don't think. But as long as he's not atrocious, that's fine with me because offensively, he's going to be better than Terrence for sure in that regard, and I think even better than Kevin, who, by the way, I saw some nice plays from Kevin Porter Jr. for the Bucks last night. So good for him. And honestly, KPJ was not playing that bad, but I just thought, generally speaking, we needed to go a different direction. It's like I just don't know. We'll see. If Kevin Porter Jr. wins the Milwaukee Bucks a playoff game, I will sit on this microphone and tell you I was wrong. I also was told some things about Kevin Porter Jr. that he was nice to fans yesterday. That was nice. So shout out to those guys if you're listening. Good for KPJ. I'm happy that he was good to fans. You know, I do care about that stuff. James Harden has been excellent to fans. I will give him that. And you know who else has been great to fans? Norman Powell. Shout out to those people from Toronto I met last night. Coming all the way from Toronto just to root on Kawhi and Norm, but mainly Norm. They had the sign for him and everything. And that was awesome. And Norm is so good to the fans. So, you know, shout out to Norman Powell. But Bogey, I mean, that's all I have about his game because he didn't play too much. 18 minutes. He was technically a -10, but I don't give a damn about single game plus minus. I don't think that told the story. I liked what I saw. I really did, especially the fact that he shot 75% in his first game. You're only going to see more of him, in my opinion. So that was great. Other things I wrote down for the game, because this is my first time taking notes in so long for a Clipper game, because I was like, I always take notes after every quarter to make sure I don't forget things. But as far as the way they matched up with us, nothing that interesting. Jaren Jackson Jr. was on Kris Dunn. Desmond Bane was on Kawhi. Jalen Wells was on James Harden. Zach Edey on Zoo. And our good old friend Luke Kennard on Norman Powell. And by the way, Luke Kennard kept looking up at the wall because I know he's fascinated by this all because when he was here, we were talking about building into a dome. But he didn't even like wave to the crowd or anything. I was trying to get his attention the whole night. And like, he didn't even wave. Like, come on, Luke. We remember you. I know it's gone now, that shirt I had because it burned, but I had that Nuke shirt that Ernie gave me. Oh, and by the way, if you're watching on video right now, this is one of the playoff shirts that was given to me by, I forget who, because so many different fans have come together to give me shirts from the playoffs. It was awesome. So thank you for that. This is from game 2 of last year's playoffs, and it's one of my favorite shirts, the Mr. Cartoon logo, even though that was a terrible game that we lost to Dallas. The Clippers organization, my boy Casey that leads the wall, they gave me a bunch of playoff shirts from like the last 4 or 5 years and just shirts that were given out at games, like freshly printed, it felt like. And that was so nice of them. So if people are wondering, like, have the Clippers done anything? They're like tagging Steve Ballmer on Twitter. The Clippers have never acknowledged my existence to this point. Never. Like, they one time posted a tweet of mine in a graphic. Like, you know how sometimes they'll post those pictures like about stuff that our players did, and there'll be a bunch of tweets scattered around from Twitter. I was never included except for one time recently. And but besides that, they never acknowledged my existence at all. I feel like they don't like me. I've never even, by the way, for people that are wondering if I've gotten denied media access, I've never been denied. We've never even requested. The host thought it was better for me to stay in my fan lane. I mean, sorry, my higher ups at Locked On thought it was better for me to stay in this lane. And I love sitting at the wall and I love being loud. So I don't want to be professional and quiet at Clipper games personally. I love being loud. It's part of the fun for me. But this is the first time I've ever done anything for me or like acknowledge my existence. So the fact that I've, the team knows who I am, that's awesome. You know what I mean? I love being an ambassador in ways for this team unofficially, for the fans. The Lakers, they have way more fans than us, but the Lakers doing that for fans, I don't know about that. So I'm very thankful to be a Clipper fan. And one thing about the Clippers is last night was the vision in terms of this team. It's the vision of what you expect. Kawhi Leonard, the best player. James Harden, I haven't even mentioned James Harden, but even though I didn't even know he shot 6 for 18. Like, that's the thing. That's why he's an all-star, right? He's been shooting terribly all year. 6 for 18 from the field, 2 for 7 from 3, 4 for 4 from the line. But the amount of advantages that he creates and the consistency of points that he still brings to the table, that's what has made him good even in his age. The longevity conversation does not start with LeBron James and end with LeBron James. Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, James Harden. And I'm going to be honest with you, and this is coming from a Curry guy. Like, I'm always taking Steph Curry over James Harden. But is Steph better than Harden anymore? Has Harden surpassed him in, like, not all time, obviously, but like surpassed him in year? Harden's in year 16. Curry's in years. Oh, yeah, they're in the same class. Year 16. Yeah. Has Harden surpassed him in year 16? I don't know. He looks like he's playing better. He's doing better with his team. 18 points, 8 rebounds, 10 assists, 1 steal, 1 block, 5 turnovers. But you know what? I didn't even notice it. I thought James was great. Creating advantages one-on-one and pick and roll, and just guys like Luke Kennard. The only guy that can somewhat guard James Harden on that team is Jalen Wells. He did an amazing job in Memphis earlier this year, which, by the way, that was my favorite win of the season, was the one in Memphis. So we've done pretty well against them this season. But I thought James was really great, creating advantages. Almost had a triple-double. So James Harden, enjoy your stay in Northern California for the All-Star game because you deserve it. A lot of small ball as well yesterday, fellas. A lot of small ball. I should definitely mention that. No Drew Eubanks in this one. It was small ball all the way with Nico playing 13 minutes. He shot 4 threes. Those were his only shots. He made one of them. He had 3 points and 3 boards and a steal. Just turned the ball over just one time. But that was basically, and Amir Coffey. I thought Amir was spectacular. You're so aggressive, attacking closeouts, in transition, always looking to make a play, stopping and popping in the mid-range. I mean, 15 points off the bench, 3 rebounds, 4 for 9 from the field, 0 for 2 from 3. And how about this? 7 for 7 from the foul line. I mean, now that we don't have Terrence Mann, our homegrown guy, longest tenured, is the Brewmaster. So, I mean, we got to appreciate him, right? He's really our only homegrown guy that actually has like a couple years on him. Then you have to go to the Kobe Browns. So, appreciate you, Brew. Harden, I mentioned it already with the assist, but he made some really great passes. And my favorite pass to watch of Harden live is the outlet pass. The outlet pass coming my way. I mean, you really get to see how perfect the weight he puts on those passes is. But yeah, I basically have mentioned everything. We did a good job taking advantage of Desmond Bane being out of the game. And then I thought we did a great job ending the second quarter. And it was with the small ball lineup too. We did a great job. And when we go to those small ball lineups, it's really Kawhi and James creating advantages. And we started to see more matchup hunting. James looking for Luke Kennard on the switch, Kawhi looking for Scottie Pippen Jr. on the switch, that kind of thing, and then playing out of that. We just got to, pass out of those doubles and those load ups quick and get the defense moving, and we'll be fine. Let me see. Was there anything else? The way we started the third quarter is what ended the game. I mean, we really hit the ground running, and starts with Kawhi and Harden. And, of course, our defense with Derek and Kris Dunn. So, yeah, great stuff from Amir Coffey. Great stuff from Bogdanovic, the entire team. It was really nice to. Oh, and I forgot to mention Zoo. Yeah, Zoo just did his Zoo thing. It's starting to become, we're taking it for granted. Double-double, 12 points, 13 boards, 3 assists, 3 steals and a block, 2 turnovers. I mean, the amount that he bails out guys defensively is amazing. His rim protection. There are moments in the small ball lineup where you see the laziness of players not going with that, not having that second effort. Like, somebody will get beat off the dribble. Somebody will help. They're so used to Zubac doing all the cleanup work that, like, no one's, okay, now that I have left my man to help, who's helping the helper? You know what I'm saying? And a lot of that comes from that reliance on Zoo, in my opinion. So another night at the office for Zoo, having a career year, but just a very solid win overall against the Memphis Grizzlies team that we've had some success against this season, which is nice. So we got a win there against them. We got that win. Honestly, to this day, I think at Memphis on the 23rd of December was our best win of the season because, 114 to 110. You had John that game. You had Jaren Jackson, Desmond Bane. You had all of them, and we won on the road. And they're the second best team in the West right now based off record. And we have not beaten OKC or Boston or Cleveland, so I'll take that one. But good win overall. Thank you to the Clippers organization again for the kind gesture. It's really appreciated. And thank you to all the fans. A video of my experience of the game, and it's a good one with a lot of fans will be out probably by 4 o'clock Pacific time. So please check that out before the Utah game. I'm apologizing for the timing of both of these videos, my video on my channel and then this one. I'm working through things right now, guys, but thanks for being patient with me through it all. And you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Dime Dropper Pod. Subscribe to my own YouTube channel, Dime Dropper. I just hit 12,000 subscribers, and I want to keep going to more. And this channel's got to get to 7,000 before the season ends, guys. I'm not joking. 7,000 before the season ends, at least. How about 7,000 before the playoffs? Can we do that? 7,000 before the playoffs? I feel like I might have been able to hit it if I hadn't been on hiatus for a month. But let's see. 7,000 before the playoffs, and I'll be satisfied because we haven't passed another team in a while, and I really want to pass these guys. So, the Locked On Clippers newsletter. You can go to lockedondaily.com and please sign up. The age-old proverb continues. Go Clippers.